France is a country located in Western Europe. It has a lot of coastline, most of it on the Atlantic Ocean, but some of France's coastline is also on the Mediterranean Sea. France is located very close to other European powers, including England, Spain, and Germany. This video focuses on one of France's most famous absolute monarchs, King Louis XIV. In 1643, Louis XIV, age 4, became the King of France. Cardinal Mazarin, one of the officials in his royal court, ruled for him until he was 22 years old, when he took over full responsibilities in the French government. Louis became a powerful ruler with total control. Louis determined never to let nobles challenge him. He knew the French nobles, who controlled land and wealth, were the biggest threat to his authority as a king. As an absolute ruler, Louis took government power away from the nobles and instead gave some power to government officials that he made sure answered only to him. Louis's reign of 72 years, 110 days, is one of the longest in French and European history. He ruled from 1643 until his death in 1715. As ruler, Louis worked hard to increase the wealth of France, although he wasn't always successful. His chief minister of finance, a man shown here named Jean-Baptiste Colbert, tried to build the French industry. And that means he tried to make France's economy stronger by having people produce more goods. Colbert aimed to convince the French people to buy French-made goods and not those from other countries, so that the wealth of the French would stay in France. Louis also helped to develop French colonies. He urged people to settle in the new French colony of Canada. The Canadian fur trade brought much wealth to France. Meanwhile, back in France, Louis raised money by creating high taxes, and these high taxes for French citizens fell mostly on the poor, which served to widen the economic gap between the upper class and the lower class. Why does this matter? Well, Louis's economic policies made the poor even poorer, and in the late 1700s, France would experience a very violent and bloody revolution that was caused, in part, by the difference in wealth between the very, very rich and the extremely poor. Louis is famous for enjoying a life of luxury at his court. He built a huge and beautiful palace called Versailles just outside the capital city of Paris. In order to keep an eye on his potential competition, he compelled many members of the nobility to live at his lavish palace, keeping them dependent on his good favor, meaning they had to be on his good side, and this also stopped them from becoming a threat to his authority. By doing this, Louis created a centralized state where he and his aides had direct control over the entire Kingdom of France. Louis weakened the nobles and strengthened the throne. He is the best example of an absolute monarch in European history. Once, he even went so far as to famously say, "L'État c'est moi," which is French for, "I am the state," meaning, I am the government. Louis was known as the Sun King, the monarch that all other kings and queens in Europe revolved around, like planets moving around the sun. During his reign, Louis made France the most powerful nation in Europe. France had more people and a larger army than any other country, although Louis and his ministers were not always the best at organizing and spending money. Louis made some mistakes that later proved costly. After winning some minor wars against neighboring countries, he became bolder and tried to seize and control more land in Europe. Other nations, threatened by Louis, joined together to stop France by the late 1680s. The high cost of these wars, combined with poor harvests by French farmers, produced significant problems in France. The final war fought in Louis's time lasted from 1700 to 1714. Remember, King Louis XIV died in 1715. In this war, called the War of Spanish Succession, France and Spain attempted to set up a united throne to bring the power of their two countries together. The rest of Europe felt incredibly threatened by this attempt, and they joined in war against France and Spain. Both France and Spain were forced to give up some of their American and European colonies to England, the new rising power. As a result of this conflict, France found itself nearly bankrupt. Louis died in 1715, leaving behind a country that was near financial ruin and struggling with conflicts between the nobles and the middle and lower classes. Although it occurred far after Louis's death, those conflicts based on social status would eventually bring France to its knees and destroy its government completely in a very violent and bloody revolution.